The regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees of the East Central Independent School District being held on March 26, 2026, and beginning at 6:30 p.m. Madam Secretary, may I have a roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Brenda Freeman. David Santos.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Randall Gerhart.
Here.
James Maltby.
Here.
Darren Sillis here. William Roscoe.
I'm here.
Lee Christmas.
I'm here. Thank you, Madam Secretary. The next item is prayer and pledge.
Yeah, we are gonna jump into the prayer and pledge in a second. I was actually here 1 year ago. I spoke with Mr. McKay for about an hour and a half, which doesn't seem like most of the people here. For the first time on a Monday, and he said, "Hey, we're having a board meeting. You should come and check out what we're all about." So I got to be here. I couldn't imagine standing here as a principal of one meeting. So with that, I have the distinct privilege to invite 3 students to do our prayer, our 2 pledges on our prayer. So I'm super excited to invite Mr. Peter Peters, Mr. Yohani Lopez, and Mr. Daniel Jackson. Please stand for the pledge.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right, you can have a seat. Thank you. Another fun story. At my wedding, the preacher forgot to say everybody sit down, so they stood for our whole wedding. I got the distinct pleasure to become the principal of Legacy Middle School. One of the things that we noticed when we first got there was a huge gap in the students' ability to write. We know that writing is the key to communicating, to opening doors, to really going anywhere and to sharing your voice. We had over 500 students in Legacy Middle School last year that got a 0 on the ECR. The ECR is the extended constructive response that is at the end of the STAR test. That determines your letter grade in a lot of ways. And we had a lot of kids that just got a 0. So we've had a tremendous focus on writing this year. I'm super excited because I was racking my brain thinking, what do I do with middle school kids that would compete with the wonderful elementary kids that are always up here and looking really cute? And I said, let's share their writing. So I wrote a prompt for them. So I'm going to read you that prompt. 5 students are going to read an excerpt from their paper. 2 students are going to read their paper in entirety. So I'm really looking forward to this and get your tissues ready. This is my prompt that I wrote for them. Middle school is a critical time in the life of a student. For many, it defines their relationship to school and learning. It is the middle section between the curiosity and wonder of elementary school and the high-stakes nature of high school, which can really determine the choices students have or do not have the rest of their lives. Middle school is an opportunity to deeply explore interests, develop lasting friendships, developing the social and emotional skills that will bring you success. My question is, how has Legacy Middle School shaped your life, and what lessons have you taken? So with that, I'm going to turn it over to our students.
My name is Timothy Galena, and I'm trying to tell y'all how Legacy has impacted my life. Picture a young boy that came straight out of elementary school who has no idea what will come to him and the changes it will bring to him throughout his life. Hello, my name is Timothy, and I am currently an 8th grader at Legacy Middle mistakes are who you are trying.
Hello, my name is Johannes Lopez, and this is my son. Eighth grade itself is something you won't forget. It feels like your senior year. It feels like you're on top of the world, the big one. Whatever you call that feeling when you're older, hopefully more mature than you. I thought everything was going to be the same. The dates, the fights, the same drama everyone wants to argue. To be honest, it was like that for the first couple of weeks. But then, look, people not only came to school for their friends, but also the new things of the school. The pride and passion. Part of that was this amazing community of new teachers who really tried to emulate each and every one of us. They taught us so much more about education and our potential to be somebody who's kind and courageous. They push and help us up when we falter and try to make us learn from our mistakes. Even with our bad reputation, and we believe in the worst, the staffs and students continue to show everyone that we are proud to be a legacy to show people beyond the next classroom.
Hello, my name is Major Peters, and it's a part of my ISD. Legacy Middle School has made a significant difference in my life this year. The teachers genuinely care about each student and encourage us to reach our full potential, even when we feel discouraged. The teachers support us through every challenge and always have faith in our abilities. Their dedication and belief in us inspire me to keep striving for success. As I move on to high school, I'm taking a lot of lessons. One stands above the rest. One of my teachers, Miss Mathis, once told me, if you get just 1% better every day, by the time you reach your career, you won't just be great, you'll be unstoppable, the absolute best version of yourself. These teachers have pushed me and motivated me, so that's exactly what I plan to become.
I learned to really laugh at my time at mistakes. I learned to never let anyone who be less than doing what I want and then what you can. I learned this the hard way because my sister was here. The second lesson I learned, zero hard to explain, is always a one for this. Every place life is a book to look at. Some sorrows, some joys. I will never forget that all types of memories ultimately are others. My point of view, which means that my life will always be more higher rappers. Will also remind us that we're the ones who show how our life is. Thirdly, learning is not easy to close my doors. A great example of this is what my time is. I'm always finishing that stuff. School work, school work best. These examples show that my time is not yet as a person, but really seems to be what I can react and
Persistence and success. Hello, my name is Kennedy Nadine. I'm an 8th grader at Legacy Middle School. Imagine seeing your teachers leave again and again, having to ask substitutes for months at a time, and seeing both teachers and students unmotivated, angry, and wanting to leave, while hearing their schools about to shut down because you're the problem. Well, I don't have to. This was my experience. I've been at this middle school for all 3 years. Legacy Middle School has brought me some of the best experiences of my life. None more than this year, though. I have been so blessed to have such a good last year with the people dedicated to culture, fun, education, and relationships. Legacy has brought me some of my best friends. It is where I learned more about myself, picked up strategies I'll never forget, and experienced ups and downs. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. Benjamin Franklin. When I first came to Legacy in 6th grade, it was such a big change. I didn't know what to expect. Things were changing so fast that I wasn't prepared for it. It felt as if there was chaos everywhere, almost as if people would feel the tension. I lost my best friend and friends, but I also gained some and learned some lessons. I left 6th grade scared, unsure, I knew enough to move on. And when I realized I wanted to work on myself. My second year of middle school wasn't that different. I felt like I was always stressed. A lot of my teachers were leaving with substitutes for months at a time, and I didn't have a teacher for 8 months. The academic dean had to become our teacher to make sure we passed our. Students and teachers were so obviously unhappy, and students were constantly getting in trouble. We got to a point where students were getting their electives taken away, reading in all elective periods, but the real icing on the cake was hearing most of our teachers had to leave. As a student, this was difficult to hear and have a good middle school experience. Caterpillars are to butterflies as change is to grow. Change is the only way to describe my last year this summer when we came to plant and fix up the front of the school, when we came in to see culture and pictures of my school community on the walls. You could just feel this year was going to be different. We got to talk to some of the teachers, and you could just tell they were happy to be here. I saw more teachers who looked like me in the administration and learned so much and formed relationships with these teachers. There truly has been a change in almost every aspect of the school. We started taking field trips and more fun while learning and support. I have never felt so ready to reach for the next level, to keep these friends, memories, and lessons with me. I feel lighter listening to the music that plays on the bell rings, seeing the memories of my friends and me on the walls, or going to advisory to share my feelings and talk with people in different grades. I probably wouldn't have done that if we weren't hurt like that. I will take these lessons of what true learning looks like, what a good teacher is, and what positive learning environments are. I never liked change much, but I am beyond grateful for this change. So what has legacy done for me? Easy. It made me who I am today and helped me in so many ways I can't even explain. I will take these lessons, bonds, and memories throughout my life. I'm inspired by my teachers and friends to reach further and expect more. I will never forget the amazing friends I made or stop trying to achieve my goals. Thank you.
The school nobody saw coming. Good afternoon. My name is Avery and I'm currently an 8th grade student at Legacy Middle School. Today I want to share my experience at Legacy and how it has changed from 6th grade to now. Have you ever walked into a place and felt like you didn't belong? That's how I felt when I first came to Legacy. Over the past 3 years, that feeling has completely changed. Not only have I grown academically, but I've also gained confidence and started to see school in a different way. To be honest, when I first came here in 6th grade, my time here was not very positive. I did not want to be here and did not feel connected to the school. It felt like some teachers were not very engaged with their students and they were just there because they had to, which made it harder for me and others to stay motivated or excited about learning. But over time, things started to improve. We got a new, amazing, and funny, kind principal. New programs were introduced and new wonderful teachers joined the school. As I moved from 7th grade into 8th grade, I started to notice some real changes. Now, I have teachers who truly care, not just about grades, but more importantly, us as individuals. They take the time to support us, encourage us, and make sure we understand what we are learning. And if we need help, always find time before and after school to have to do it. We've always with the positive attitude. Now, I never feel like I'm learning when I'm just wasting time. I also started to notice a more positive school environment overall. It's even noticeable in small things like administrators grading us with smiles or fist bumps has made a difference. Students are now recognized for doing the right thing, whether it's working hard, showing kindness, or making good choices. For example, the fellowships we have gone on have taught us that every Friday truly gives us a break and gives us something to work and look forward to. That kind of encouragement can really impact how students feel and how they behave. I've seen that change in myself since I have my family, friends, and teachers. Before this year, I would never imagine being selected as student of the month or even student person group today. But because of the school's new leadership and their support, I'm able to do these things and more. Another important thing I've learned this year is that there's a time and a place for everything. This school has helped me understand when to focus, when to have fun, and how to be respectful and responsible. That balance is something I know is going to be in the future. Looking back, my time at Legacy has gone from something negative to something truly positive. I'm very grateful for the changes that have been made because they show how much a school environment can impact a student. There are honestly so many more great things I can say about this amazing school and our wonderful principal, but I don't want this speech to turn into a romantic series with the local seasons.
That is a hard act to follow. Let's give them one more round of applause. A guardian of one of these students, can you please stand up and be recognized? It's been incredible getting to know your students, and thank you so much. I will share, this is a hard bit, but, let's go. Mr. Santos, I wanted to share a quick picture. So this is the chessboard that you gave us last board meeting, so I wanted to just share that with you. Kids are playing with it, they're using it, so thank you so much. It's really awesome.
Let me know when they're ready.
Yeah. Any Monday, they said any Monday you want to come on, you're fine, they're ready to go. All right, thank you all so much. Appreciate it. In your bags that you got, we printed out all of their essays. There are 2 students that couldn't make it today, so you can have them. There are kids to do too. So enjoy them.
Yeah, so speaking of the amazing adults that are responsible for creating these environments where beautiful things that we just witnessed happen, we got a whole bunch of amazing adults who were recognized from the community tonight. So thank you for giving us a few more minutes of your time before we recess. I'll turn it over to Mr. McKay.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And we'll let the trustees make their way down. Our esteemed teachers of the year, when your picture comes up and I call your name, you'll come on up. You'll receive a trophy. We'll take some pictures of you and the trustees. And then if you don't mind, maybe we'll have you kind of stand off over to the side here because we do want to do a group photo with everybody at the end as we make our way through it. So we'll get started when we get everybody set. All right, so first up from our Campus Teachers of the Year from Cass Lead High School, we have Brenda Rodriguez. Moving on. Her principal's here, so our principal will get that award and take it down, so we'll get it to her principal. All right. From East Central High School, Mr. Anthony Sanchez. He didn't bring his hat. I'm very disappointed. All right, next up, from Heritage Middle School, Michelle DeValley. She has me too. She probably is. Knowing her. All right, from Legacy Middle School, Mia Nelson. She has a little cheer in a second. From Ballard Middle School, Monica Guzman McCain. Here we go. Harmony Elementary School, Candace Halcombe. From Honor Elementary School, Diana Alvizo. Awesome. From Hillcrest Elementary, Lynn Cruz.
Let's go, Lynn.
From Salado Elementary,
Outside.
Brianna Salazar. Tradition Elementary School, Alexa Caney. Teachers of the Year. First up, our Elementary Teacher of the Year from Pecan Valley STEM Academy, Alaric Cheney. Our Secondary Teacher of the Year from RTC and BCLC, Valerie Robinson. ISD's Teacher of the Year from Highland Forest Elementary, Amanda Torres. So we're about to call the Teachers of the Year back up for a group photo, but before we do that, we have another group that's in the audience that we definitely want to recognize. None of this is possible without a strong support system at home. It requires the loved ones, the family, and the friends to give up and to sacrifice time so that they can do this work. And you see the impact that it has on the lives of kids. And I know that that's happening across our entire district. I tell you, we put our teachers up against any teachers, not only in San Antonio, in the state of Texas, and in the nation. If you are a family member of a loved one of one of these amazing teachers, could you please stand so we can recognize you as well? Thank you so much for your support. Bring up all of our Teachers of the Year back up to the front and do a group photo. Y'all come on up.
by statute that we have to present those controls. So it's the Texas Academic Performance Report that the paper stands for. It has some data from 24 to 25 from last school year. That's where we get most of the data from, but there's a chunk of data in the report that's from 23, 24. And so what I want just to make a note of there is the timeliness of the report. It's not the most current data. And so when we come back a little later with Jen and Lauren, we're going to share some data. This might give you some context. So some of this data today you're going to see, say, hey, this is where we were at 23, 24, and then we're going to show you where we are this month. So it's worth a little bit more time with that second presentation. So on our district profile there, we've got attendance rate from 23, 24. That's the most recent data that they share in that paper report with the public. So that shows where we are at 91.3%. You can see where the state is over there. And so you'll see later on, I'll share the slide. I believe we're over 93% currently, but I won't give you all the data. But that's just an example of how the progress we made and how our data that we share is a little bit more time. We talked before about how the attendance rate is something that we want to work on. What I like about this report is it shows you one of the areas that we really want to improve in. And so in 23, 24, we had a chronic absentee rate. So that chronic absentee rate are students that missed more than 10% of the school year. And so at that point in time, it was 31.5%. So what I want you to take from that is that it's not that lots of kids are missing lots of school. It's we have a smaller group of kids that are missing more school. And that's a bigger opportunity. And that's a cornerstone of our work with students and schools and campuses are doing. We're trying to interrupt that chronic absentee rate and get those students before they start missing lots of school to develop those bad habits. You see our CCMR rating. Again, that's from 23, 24. I won't really Lauren surprised. I know she's excited to share that data with you. But when Lauren talks later, I want you to remember at the end of the 23-24 school year, we were at 79.5%. 79.5. So when she tells you where we are now, I want you to think, hey, that's where we were in. And then we have our college readiness rating also in the report. And we were a little bit of the state. They look at graduation rate and they look at it three ways. They look at it as a 4-year rate. So the most recent group they look at is that 23, 24 group. So again, it's 2 years old at this point in time. And they show you how that senior class did. Then they show you the prior year seniors in class of 23, so 22, 23. And then they take that same class as a 5-year rate. And they take the class before it as a 6-year rate. And so in our accountability system, we look at 4, 5, and 6-year rates. You can see what our rates are there on those slides in comparison to this thing. So last thing I wanted to pull out the report for you was our school progress data. And so this is showing progress between grade levels. So even though students tested 3rd grade, you need a baseline set of data to show progress from. So you don't get growth data from 3rd grade. So it starts in 4th grade, goes all the way up to high school. And I'm just going to pull out a couple highlights for you here. I wanted you to see the bottom there at the district, we were at 62%, a little lower than the state, 67%. And that both East Central and the state, you'll see on the next slide, are reading tends to be higher growth than our math. And then you'll see frequently when Jed talks about the data, we talk about 8th grade and 5th grade being relatively high ones. Those are our 2 highest growth areas there. I want you to see at 69 to 70%. And then I want you to see the dip in 6th and 7th grade. So frequently we're talking about 6th and 7th grade reading math are areas we really want to focus on. So I want you to see those numbers being a little lower. And then that English 1 data was a little lower. And then I'm just going to do the same thing on math. Again, the 3rd grade growth data is up to the first test. And then I want to just plot a couple of the highlights from this one. Notice how we're real close to the state at 4th grade. And then look at 5th grade is the highlight of our data on growth. We're about 10% above the state average there. And so we frequently talk about that 5th grade math data being very strong. And that was, I think, the strongest we've ever seen it last year. but I want you to notice 8th grade is actually represented mostly in algebra. The algebra. So algebra, we're right about the state mark there, and that's algebra from our high school, but almost all of our 8th graders take algebra, so that's where most of the growth score comes from. And that's why there's a little star on 8th grade, because that 8th grade test is our 7th graders taking the 8th grade math test. And then I want you to see the lower growth there at 6th and 8th grade on math. And we talked about that before, and that's a number that Jen brought up before, that we're tracking more close to those 6th and 7th graders for growth. You see that as not huge. And that is some highlights from the paper report, but questions and answers.
I've got one. First, I'll make a comment that I'll just say that I was back in '85. I was the first one to get kicked out of the algebra pilot program because I got a C. To brag about what happened. Question I had on your very first slide. So actually, I'm glad to see that is a measure for 8th graders because I actually lived that. Now, that 31.5% chronic absentee. To me, that's a bit misleading unless I'm reading it wrong. What is the percent of students that are contributing to that versus the whole population? Is it 1%, 1.5%, 0.5?
That is a great question. I don't have the number handy. I can
I'm
get you that.
just curious. I mean, because that's, I mean, if you're reading it as a whole, that's a third of the absentees, overall, which it is. But you said it's distributed over 10 kids. Let's say, what is that percent over? That way, that is measured out, correct? That is extrapolated out.
I can get you exactly how that one is calculated. But I can get you exactly how it is.
Okay, I'm just curious what that number is.
I can reiterate what I think we already know. I'm just going to say again that the big takeaway I wanted to have there was just that the chronic absentee is skewing our number. Like, does that make sense? Some kids missing lots of school is causing the overall average to come down, right? Like, so when you get a low grade, you average to 50, and suddenly you take your overall average down faster than.
Absolutely. That's not taken into consideration for the overall group.
So that the 91.3 is the overall average, right? And then the chronic absentee rate is reflecting the percent of kids that are in that chronic group.
Okay.
And so I can get you how that calculation works exactly.
Okay, I appreciate that.
No problem.
Question for context. So I see that this is 23-24 school year.
Yes.
And then, so the numbers where we look at the school progress reading, is that the same 23-24 or is that current?
That's a great question. No, this is current. This is the 24-25, so the star from last school year.
Okay.
This is in the bigger group that's the more recent one, unlike the other ones like the CCMR attendance that lag 2 years. Great question.
The state, so the dip from last year elementary to middle school happens here and statewide.
Correct.
Middle schools, drama troubles.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think if I could fully answer that, I could probably write a paper and get very wealthy. But I think it is a real issue. It's known. It's not just us, but we do think that that's something that we can continue to chip away at and get closer to where we want to be. Is my goal.
So some of the programs we have that we're implementing, you're able to target specifically the students that are struggling that bring those points down and able to use things that we're, the protocols that we're bringing in to help those specific students.
Absolutely. I think what I believe we're accelerating the use of data academically and beyond academically to target students to try to move that needle, get really specific, really granular so that we know who and what to work on. I believe we're doing that at higher rates than we've ever done before.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone that would like to speak to this issue, you can come forward at this time. If not, we'll move on to item 7.1, trustee reports.
I've posted online.
Oh, she's got the video, so she's got the proof. And that was super enjoyable, so thank you very much.
I attended JROC also, very impressed with how well they ran the ball. Their speakers. For me, I decided to go a little bit different route and went to the principal's cadre on March 4th, just to kind of see how meetings were doing. Not to keep tabs on anybody, just kind of see how things were done. And I have to say, for the record, that I was quite impressed on the presentation, the delivery. Everything was great. The interaction between all the principals, and it didn't matter if it was elementary or the high school, everybody was interacting. I took some pictures for myself. I didn't get around to it, showing them, putting the stickers up. And, the reading of the minds was outstanding. I couldn't imagine no school not passing with all the information. That was good, handed out that day. So great job. Very nice to see everybody, interacting with it.
I got a chance to go to, before I get to these pictures, boys basketball game in Dillon, Texas. My district game, they had a great season, a great game. Really enjoyed it, and the kids played well and represented the district very well. And congratulations to that boys basketball team. The picture that he pulled up there, this is a picture here that trustees got together to go over to softball game, baseball game in Livonia, and we had a great outing, a great day, and we got a chance to share some things with some of the superintendents, the board president from Livonia. He joined us also and kind of shared some things with him. This is a Special Olympics. This is an opportunity to go out and really support kids with disabilities watching compete. And it's a great event, great turnout. And I think at the top there is the principal, and in the middle there, the principal from there we go. And at the bottom there, the kids there from Legacy. And the kid the guy right behind him, I think he goes to Legacy. He's also the next student behind high school. Really nice job. Okay, this was a fundraiser at Sinclair Elementary School. It was, I think, King and Queen Court. Everybody dressed up. Kids dressed up. We had a really great time. It was a fundraiser, and those are some of the principal and vice principal and PTA person, and at the bottom that's the King and Queen Court. We had a King and Queen each grade level, and that fundraiser went really well. Their goal was to raise $6,000. They ended up raising $19,000. So, wow, they did a really good job. They're looking forward to the King and Queen Court next year. There's some of the kids there. Really have a good time.
So I attended a few softball games, see the girls that we have as the mountain team at Young, but you couldn't tell on the baseball or softball line there. They played their hearts out. Also, the boys varsity baseball team had a chance. This coach had a picture of us out there in Virginia. We had opportunities to go out and support. And I also got a chance to throw out first pitch, but didn't do near as well as my cadre here. But my sons had a good time chuckling. But I'm going to stick with Mr. McKay's rendition, he heard that I threw like 95 miles an hour. Love pop so loud, so I like that rendition better. Winter Sports Banquet, had a chance to go and see some great athletes and the accolades that they earned. Just the character building is what I love about our programs here at East Central. You see the character right there in front of you. And well-mannered, great young people, just bright futures. Special Olympics, also got a chance to cameo with my friend here. Love to see the excitement, the enthusiasm of all the athletes that were there. Just brings so much joy to me to see. And the athletes that were there as well, helping, and the cheerleaders and stuff. Just great camaraderie. Great to see them come back. Also, part of the safety and security committee here, we had a chance to come out and learn some great things. What's going on here to keep our kids safe. And then Salado, once a month they have, first Friday of the month, they have their cafecito out, and been there a couple times because I missed a couple months, and Mr. Good let me know that I missed a couple, and I'll do my best to be there. So I was there, and they had a rock, and you're able to write some messages for their children to kind of inspire them for the STAR test, and just to give them that reassurance. So I thought that was a neat little program that they had. Then to finish off military ball, it was just awesome to see how well run it was. Speaking to a friend there, to piggyback on his statement, she did well and represented the Army well. So it was just a great thing for happening. That's all I got.
Well, I attended the military ball celebration as well. And just wonderful.
And company. And Lauren.
Thank you for the opportunity to present some more updated data.
Information's in here, this thing is folders usually, where that's not. How do you like to follow?
We're going to follow our usual set of data here. We'll all do attendance, behavior systems, disciplines, and marks. It's our data for us, and just going to close this out with academic data with a focus on those key areas where we have goals. Looking at our attendance there. We are about 0.6% up year over year. So compared to the same time at the end of the 27th week last school year, we're up 0.6%. If we stay at that rate, that would be about $400,000. Wanted to note our biggest increase up there at 1.4% is legacy. We heard the young lady read her essay. She mentioned the culture on the campus. They do have that special position that talks about culture, really works on the culture of the campus. And I think we see attendance, we see behavior discipline, we see a variety of positive effects based on that. I wanted to call out some of the campuses like Harmony and Cotton Valley. They started the year incredibly strong, and then it dipped a little bit. We saw the data start to go down, and actually got to the point where they're a little lower than they were the prior year. And they really rebounded. I want you to see Brown Valley is now up 0.4% year over year, and Harmony's up almost 4%. And so the big thing I really wanted to call attention to there was what we talked about earlier. We were talking about using data academically, but also other areas. So I kind of want to get on that about how we're starting to really get granular on the attendance data, target years, and really getting that. So 5 campuses are on track for those ambitious attendance goals. 10 campuses have increased compared to the prior year at the same time. Obviously, those couple of campuses where we're not quite as great where we were last year. We're really working with student services and Mark on together to really work on developing the yearly attendance plan going forward. We did have some recent attendance incentives. We got some pictures of some kids with recent attendance efforts that people had. There's so many great stories. I'm just going to give you 2 quick ones. One of them was a couple of campuses got really smart looking at attendance coming off things like holidays and how they put things like field day and really, like, I can't miss events on those days. So they look at it and say, hey, if that's the day that we give our attendance, let's put something where the kids just can't not come to school. And so those really smart data-driven groups are helping power some of the improvements that we're seeing. Another example I wanted to give, talking with Cotton Valley, I feel like all year long it's been a joy listening to them, trying to problem solve and make that impact. And I wrote a couple of notes to myself here to try to share just a little bit about PV. Again, it's a great example of using that data to be really targeted. So one of the things they did was in their communications with parents, trying to include some of the data, help them understand what's going on with the impact. Another thing they did was getting really targeted with the students. So one group of students gets targeted by communities and schools, and another group is targeted by the school counselor, and then a different group is targeted by the social worker. So they kind of started looking at trends in the data and said, hey, what do these guys have in common? Let's target those different resources and different methods with different kids to try to target those needs. And then some of the things that they did that you might find interesting. So they've got some kids that they just needed maybe a little extra adult attention, and so they have like a daily check-in. So they've got an adult that every day they go to, that's kind of checking in with them, seeing how they're doing. Seems to be making an impact with them. Just feel like there's more and more person who kind of has a connection with them. Similarly, they took some 5th graders who were having some attendance challenges, and they gave them pre-K buddies who were having attendance challenges. And the 5th graders, it's like a little bit of a mentor role, and they come over to meet with them and have some experiences with them. And so the 5th graders are stepping up and pre-K kids, they don't want to miss their fifth grade buddies, and so it's having a variety of positive impacts. So, I don't the whole night sharing stories, but I hope it's giving a little glimpse into some of the great things going on. So, one more thing on attendance, we just put together a new graphic here that suggests there on the top left that if we're looking at like attendance from 2 years ago to today, we're looking at about 32,000 additional days of instruction gained with that attendance that you see there. So 32,000 days of attendance gained is about as if every kid gained 3 more days of school, 3 more days of instruction. And that would net us about $1.25 billion annually. That's the gain from the just where we were 2 years ago. Which immediately we saw in the paper report, right, that was 94.3% compared to the 93% that we are. If we go back, 93.2%. And then there's more data I won't read about. So you can see the big gains on the right for each campus compared to where they were 2 years ago and where they were 1 year ago and where they are today. So you can see that sort of big targeted how many data, how many kids, explicit plans where we're going to start and move the needle at unprecedented rates. Moving us along to our behavior systems. We are real proud of the progress we've made on our behavior systems. These are our internal ratings and where we saw things. We have every campus on track to meet their 2-1 goals. Again, we kind of get over 80%. Very proud of the work that we've seen. This is our Tier 2 goals and our progress from our most recent internal ratings. Next month, I'm going to bring, we just got in, after the deadline for this meeting, we got in external reports. So next time I'll be able to bring to you the full reports. So we have external audit comes in, they do the same thing on the same scale. So we'll be able to share the final scoreboard on how we get on those two metrics. But what we know is strong behavior systems produce discipline outcomes. And so here's our discipline data. What I want you to see is that we're getting more and more campuses on track. We are now on track to meet our discipline goal for the year in the reduction. We haven't arrived yet. We still have some work to do, but we are making progress on the system. I included an updated version of the graph we've been looking at the last month or two. I think this might be our third month of doing it. Again, on the left, you can see the rate at which we were getting discipline referrals. The higher you go on the graph, the more referrals we were getting per week. And then on the right is our current status. You can kind of see over time, we're coming down. But I want you to see like the red line is higher on the left than it is on the right. We've got the yellow line on the left versus the yellow line on the right. You can see that we're coming down in the number of incidents. And then again, the stronger your behavior system is, the less discipline incidents you have. So we're trying to be proactive and really well through those systems. So maximize time. We know that the more time we have, that can really have a positive impact on learning. As kids get more seat time or time with the teacher, when they're absent from school or they're missing class because of discipline consequences, that's instructional time lost with other great teachers. Kind of wrapping up the behavior discipline section. Looking at those audits, Harmony traditions, a lot of immediately after the people left the cell, these people were doing amazing work, a great job. We know that Legacy's had a great year in many ways. That advisory period at the beginning of the year, I think some of you guys are now really good to see that. It's really having a positive effect. We've got a program for using combined school that really helps with communication. And Heritage has been moving over and starting to implement some of those things. So as you would expect, it doesn't just happen overnight. So it's still a stuff that we're working on, just bolstering that consistency and helping implement some of those lessons we've learned with our legacy. It's
more exciting news is on the right, our current seniors are over 26. PCHS grew in 1 week 10%. So we are at 84%, and that's actually outdated. They are 1 point away from an A right now, sitting at 87%. That's, as of last week, this is where we were. So you'll see the growth that they are seeing right now. And then Cass Lee finished with their final student, and they're seeing exciting stuff. Yeah, and Jonathan just gently reminded me, where we were 2 years ago, we finished at 79.5% for cohort 20. So you'll see the gains that we're making in 2 short years. Yes, thank you. Thanks.
So the data set we have for you today is our interim data, which is very similar to a STAR test. And what I want you to think about is all the data sets that we brought to you this year so far have been a projection. So as a student takes an assessment and there's math and formulas that go on in the background, and it says, hey, based on this data set where the student is now, we project that a student will be at this point when the actual STAR test comes. Couple caveats with this year's interim data. This year's interim test is the actual STAR test from last year. Our principals asked if they can make that move this year, moving from like a state interim that assesses things a little bit differently to using what's called a STAR release test. It's the actual test questions that our students last year took in all of these areas. Along with that is that we took this in February, and so quite a few weeks ago with a lot of content that wasn't covered yet. And so a lot of times we'll go back and see there might be 7 standards that were assessed on that test for students that students haven't even been exposed to yet, but they're getting that instruction right now. And it's not simply just 7 really, but let's look where we're at. So looking at third grade math, we know our goal is 43% at least. We're looking at that far column over to your right. We've got 1 that's pretty close to meeting that goal. We've got about 3 that are off track. When we look at third grade reading, our goal is to be 44% at least. We've got 3 that are pretty close. We've got 3 that are off track. Moving to fifth grade math, our goal is to be at 48% meets. We've got 2 that are on track. We've got of course which already surpassed their goal for the end of the year. We're looking at fifth grade reading. Jonathan mentioned this is a strength for us. Goal is 57%. We've got 3 that are currently on track. And of course, again, surpassing your goal for the year, and 3 that are off track. Looking at 8th grade algebra, our goal is to get 44% meets. A little off track everywhere. One of the things that's interesting when we pulled this data is we looked at where campuses were last year at this same time, and there are several instances where there were data points that were lower than what we're seeing right now, and those campuses went on to become A&E campuses. So it kind of shows that we talk about this last leg of the race and all the efforts of the individual planning and the plans that are put in place targeting the individual students with individual skills of how we're actually going to get there. So overall, we've got some bright spots in 5th grade reading, 7th grade math, and heritage is making some gains. We've got several spots that are already at the end of the year goal, and the Morris has reached all their goals. Honors showing some significant progress in reading, and we're seeing some growth in reading. Hotspots, student writing, and then math, and this was on your right across the state. Math is a thing. I was talking to someone from another district the other day, and they're like, "Fourth grade math, what are you doing?" I was like, "I don't know, what are you doing?" We know what we're doing. But it continues to be something across the state, 4th grade and 6th grade math. We're working on it. And then today was interesting. We had a principal meeting today, and Joette, our fearless and faithful leader, asked, what can we do in 7 days? Because our window for STAR is in 7 days. So Jack, principals get up, get together, just talk about what can we do in 7 days. And I'm probably going to misquote you, Ms. Jackson. But with a lot of enthusiasm and optimism, Ms. Jackson was like, in 7 days, I can get 8 kids to move 7 points in 7 days. And that was the buzz around the room. Like, we had to give them more time because they had so many ideas of what we can do in 7 days to move the needle. And one of the most inspirational pieces about the morning is that most of their conversation, although it was around closing the gaps, it was about building confidence. It's about building confidence in students that might be nervous going into this testing scenario for the first time, or maybe coming into another year of testing when they didn't do as well as they wanted to do last year. Building confidence in teachers and building confidence in themselves. themselves to finish the race strong. And so Joy reminded us that with commitment, hard work, and strong finishes, we can make every moment count and we'll get there. So another data set that we've been following is delivering effective instruction. So all our data sets before were the student outcomes. We call those kind of those lagging indicators. This is more of a leading indicator looking at how effective our instruction is right now. In January, we brought you data that was kind of a baseline of pretty much every classroom in the district. Some changes were made in February as campuses moved into their strategic plans, and one of those moves that they made was really targeting the frequency of which they were visiting teachers and giving feedback. So teachers that were showing a lot of strong growth and progress might not get as many coaching hits as maybe a teacher that's a brand new teacher or someone new to the program. So that makes the data a little difficult to compare, but right now or as of February, we're sitting at 41% effective, and as of about 2 a.m. this morning, for March already, we're at 54% effective. So we're seeing some growth there. So some next steps, campuses are continuing to work on their plans. Our big messaging right now is this is not the time to change the plan. You might tweak, but if you've ever played sports and you wear the Stevie socks every single game, and you get to the championship game, you still wear the Stevie socks, right? The figure skater doesn't wear the new pair of skates before she goes out on the Olympic floor. Like, you just don't do that. And so monitor. They spend so much time working on these plans. It's just to monitor and put them in place right now. We see small group instruction happening everywhere, even in the corners of the hallways and underneath the stairwells. We see academies going on everywhere at the end of the day where they've repurposed schedules and special groups are getting pulled by special people, even administrators pulling groups and getting to live out their glory days of when they were rock star teachers. We're seeing some long-term sustainability pieces that we're really talking about are data talks. The way that campuses are talking about data right now, really thinking about where they started talking about data in the middle of the year, some of our strongest campuses started talking about that type of data at the beginning. So systematically, we're thinking about what are the moves that we made in the middle of the year that we can kick off and start off at the beginning of the year next year to close the gaps even faster. Got professional development going on, we're adjusting scope and sequence. We notice some standards that are weak, you might have moved a unit or extended a unit or put in some other content in that grade level to help support that. And then we also have our CIA central office staff joining campuses, even pulling groups in some cases. So we're going to continue our calibration. We're going to provide some guidance on focus priorities. I don't think Jonathan's talked about this, but he's done a great job putting together a list of standards that are the most tested standards, but the easiest to do well in. And so we're going to continue to provide guidance on that so that when they're targeting those 8 students and those 7 questions, you know exactly what content we're going to give those students. We're looking at lots of different data sources just to make sure that everything's working the right way. And then we're starting to gather videos of teachers across the district that are exemplifying the effective instruction practices that we want to lift up. So we can use those for training purposes. And then we're planning for next year. We've already got a plan for what new teachers are going to look like and what beginning of the year is going to look like. So looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Yes, and so this is all super exciting. I love the data, I love it. My word is the 27-28 school year, the 2026-27 will be the last year we start. We have a plan for what we're going to do with SST and all the good stuff like that. House builders.
Well, when you think about even the House of Lake, the new tool, it's still going to assess the standards. It's actually going to look very similar to what we're doing. What does that mean? I'm sorry. Yeah, they're basically renaming, and like right now we have our STAR test. It's like a one-shot test. The way that they're doing the new one, it actually incorporates this idea that we've already been bringing to you guys from the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and then a standalone test at the end. So it really just takes our system of probably one less assessment for most of our kiddos, and it just aligns it a little bit more. We don't anticipate seeing any drastic changes. There are some implementation tweaks that we're going to have to get around. There's some ideas on whether you can give a practice test and things like that, but we just have to wait to get all the details. Content won't change. It's the state standards. The only time that content starts to change are when the standards change. So last year we implemented new science standards. Last year the only standards that were tested were the standards that were included in the previous years plus the following year, or that were going to be tested again. And like this year is our first year of testing the new standards. And we will see that show up in social studies in 27, 28 as we do an overhaul of all the social studies standards and civics and behavior. But for the most part, we don't anticipate that being a huge hurdle.
I know
track outside of that football field?
Yes, sir.
On the outside, all right? Yeah, now, the scoreboard I saw was in the middle of the football field.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain that?
Absolutely. It's opposing where the stands are. The stands are, if you look at this picture right here, it would be to the left side now. That's right.
Okay, my question is, why is the scoreboard in the middle of the field?
So that's where the layout presents itself, sir, because all the seating is opposing that school.
So all the seating is gonna be on one side?
Yes.
Visitors and home?
Yes, sir.
The scoreboard is on the inside of the track?
So it's actually outside the track and it's outside the fenced area. It's a very large scoreboard.
Oh, okay. It's outside of it.
Yes, sir.
Good job, so you were showing to somebody else.
No,
I can
sir.
understand.
Yes, sir. Yes. This particular field is
Well, why
set
would
up.
you put it out over there and on the side?
Sure. Well, because all the seating again is on that one side, both visitor and home, so it's facing that school. Right.
That's weird.
Some of the setups
Traditional-
are traditionally, yes, sir.
It's on the edge.
Victory Elementary School. This campus too is a little bit further along than these pictures show. The parking lots are now in place. We're working through the playground areas and the millwork and plumbing and electrical are getting to the final phases of the building itself. The final parking lots, like I said, is complete. The driveways are complete. Making very good progress in staying on the track. Elementary school number 10. We're getting through those final slab tours, and when you go out there, you can see some of the steel is actually erected on site. Most of the majority of the steel has been delivered to the site, so we'll start to see that building go up here in the next couple of years. High school number 2. All of our structural piers have been placed. We had two of those large drills out there at the time, working in tandem, dropping about 50 piers a day, really moving through this large piece of property quickly. In addition to that, utilities for the building are being placed, and we had our first beam board this morning, so we're making good progress. Transportation facility, that site, the slab itself, we're looking for a pour on Monday. We were originally going to do it tomorrow, but we pushed to Monday. But all those utilities are in place for that slab, all the layout is done, all the steel's in place, so that pour, again, will take place Monday. After that, the following weeks, you'll start seeing steel go through. And that will be everything. Beyond that, you'll see in your package tonight, we're asking to make some progress on elementary school referral. We would like to hire CS Murray, our civil engineers, to begin that roadwork project, because where our site is located on that piece of property, it's to the back of the property, so we would like to do the roadwork ahead of the school building itself. So we're hoping to engage in that this fall, so that we can begin construction on that from the following. Y'all have any questions?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Back to Ballard Middle School.
Yes, sir.
At you get the community, the league baseball, like, to where you pour into, because we don't have individuals or even junior high baseball per se. But it gives the community and those an opportunity to utilize that to feed into our baseball system. I know a lot of other districts have that. Just a thought, if it can't be done, it can't be done, but it's just.
I'll discuss it with Mr. Scott, that's something certainly was happening.
I think in our design phase, there was a lot of discussion about middle school baseball, and I think there were several limitations in the department determined as far as schedule playing. It just was excellent. That's something that we appropriate at that time. We could certainly talk about the business department about transportation.
So I'm not saying or even alluding to having that as an actual school function, like, or even school backing, but having the opportunity at least to have it there, because today's prices will be way cheaper than 10 years from now. If we decide we want to do that, it's already there, is my thought. And I don't know if you have room, but I know one of the parents, or a couple of the parents had brought it up to me, that's why I thought of this as an idea. Like,
I had a baseball parent probably approach me about that.
so that's just something to look at.
Well, I mean, who's gonna be using it? So there's gonna be a baseball diamond there, right?
No, not a baseball diamond, just a backstop.
No, but I mean, backstop for what?
Whatever, they can play kickball. I know that the other junior highs, and maybe I'm misspeaking, but other elementaries for sure, you have an opportunity. So where I saw was over at the Harlandale School District, and the reason I know is because we utilized it with our youth group. We played kickball, but I've seen others practice at those facilities. So, I mean, if it's a big lift and if you can't do it, then, I'm good with not doing it, but I can't see a chain link fence backstop costing a bunch of money, and if we had the opportunity to do it, just a thought. And I did bring it up last meeting, that's why I was asking for an update.
Yes, sir, I wasn't here, that was Mr. Gonzalez, so I apologize.
Okay.
Actually, they called it, so that's.
We'll look at the minutes, see if I actually said it. Maybe I'm, okay.
Thank you so much. The next item is 8.4, upcoming events. Mr. Tiscano?
Yeah, if y'all could take a look at the calendar real quick, there's a few things that I need to point out, make sure you flag on your calendar. Of course, this coming Saturday on the 28th is the annual gala. Note the change of venue, the Norris Conference Center. I believe the doors open at 6 o'clock. And if you have any questions or any additional information, please let me know about that. Then in April, Academic Achievement Awards at the Performing Arts Center, starting at 6 o'clock on April 2nd. The 3rd is a Good Friday staff student holiday. And of course, remember the 6th is the Maui Bad Weather Makeup Day, so school is in session on the 6th. Messaging that out since the school closure, Bad Weather Day. On the 9th, we have a special board meeting, that's your regular workshop, 5 o'clock in the boardroom. On the 11th, I wanted to flag the Love Our Schools event. There is a flyer in your miscellaneous packet advertising that event. More importantly, on the back is a list of all the general list of what activities are happening at every campus in the district on that day. I know you guys like to really coordinate and divide and conquer, so.
If I could interrupt you real quick.
Yeah,
Can you
go ahead.
Please divide and conquer this event, that would be great. It would be good to, I mean, Joe and her husband are splitting up, going to 2 different campuses. It'd be great if we could, not all, but most, it'd be great, not double up. Maybe on the 4th. Okay, next, is this event on it?
It is added on to the lunch topic for
There you go.
Come on, look at that.
Just text me and let me know where I'm.
I'll make sure I get mine.
All right, also on the 16th is your next regular board meeting, 6:30, and then the 30th, special board meeting. This is the last work session with the pathways. It's Board of 4 workshop, and I believe if everybody's able to make it, I think we can finalize getting credit for training.
Let's get continuing education fund.
If they're there, they get credit.
They'll get credit for however many hours you have, and then I'll go back and just make sure.
So this is the last one for the year. Last one.
We're gonna move along to the section 9 action agenda. We need to talk about 9.1 approval of design and construction administration work related to road work at elementary school number 11.
Yeah, trustees, this is road work that Mr. Thomas alluded to here a moment ago. We want to get a jump start on this additional scope there at 11. We want to engage CDS Murray for the design and construction administration services. CDS is already on the job. This is additional scope. We want to jump on the back part of that project, get ahead. So be happy to answer any questions. Mr. Thomas is here to go into more detail. Again, CDS is definitely capable of doing the work. Done work similar to it for us, new projects, doing this project. They do their work.
Any questions?
What was the,
CDS Murray. Madam President, I recommend the board approve the selection of CDS Murray to provide design and construction administration services for work related to the road work at Newton Elementary School. Number 11.
Okay, I have a recommendation from the superintendent. Do I have a motion? I have a motion from Mr. Crosco. Do I have a second? I have a second from Ms. Friesenhahn. All those in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes. Next item is 9.2, resolution to nominate Roland Toscano for the TASB Superintendent of the Year.
I move that the Central School District on this very day, March 26th, resolves to nominate Mr. Rolando Toscano, Superintendent of Schools, for his exemplary and visionary leadership toward improving student performance in our schools.
I have a motion to nominate Mr. Roland Toscano for TASB Superintendent of the Year. All those in favor? Do I have a second? Second from Mr. Volkey? Rushing right along. Well deserved, and all those in favor, raise your hand. And the motion passes.
His signature is on the resolution.
Right. The next item we have is the consent agenda. Is there any trustees who would like to pull anything from the consent agenda? Okay. Can I get a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented? I have a motion from Mr. Gerhart, do I have a second?